Hey folks, BlackCross here, and today this is going to be an interesting discussion video, which is funny because I just released a discussion video just like a few minutes ago actually, or I recorded a discussion video, and it's been a while since I've done one. There's actually been a couple of reasons why I hadn't done a discussion video on this channel, mostly because of Mullen's Studio Podcast. You know, when it comes to like the Mullen Studio Podcast, I wanted to wait until I put information out based on that. But sometimes me and Delmar, we get so caught up with our lives and stuff, we're not able to release a Mullen Studio Podcast every week. I'm sure you guys have noticed. We release one Mullen Studio Podcast probably like once a month at this rate. And like I said, it's mostly because it depends on the discussion itself, depends on what we want to talk about. And sometimes it's hard to do that because sometimes we have other videos we want to make as well. You know, you have my channel where it's mostly Let's Plays, and then Delmar, he does a lot of his other Mullen's Studio reviews and stuff like that, and Mullen's vlogs as well. I mean, the fact that we're both constantly trying to make videos in the process, it's not easy, you know? We're always trying to keep up with our channels, and we're trying to do stuff in terms of that nature. But this is going to be more or less talking about the discussion thing in terms of my channel. Now, aside from Mullen's vlogs, the Mullen Studio Podcast rather, I also have another reason why I hadn't really done one in a long while as well. It's simply due to the fact that information goes around all the time. Now, when it comes to like information source, I usually rely on 2, if not 4 different main sources on YouTube. There's Bogey2988 with his weekly game news, which sometimes is good, sometimes it's like, I have no interest in Red Dead Redemption 2 or whatever, which I know a lot of people are going to be mad about, but I haven't played Red Dead Redemption yet, so I can't be as hyped for Red Dead Redemption 2 as I should be. So, until I play Red Dead Redemption, I can't be as hyped for Red Dead Redemption 2 because I know nothing about the games themselves. I imagine they are fun, and I hope to play Red Dead Redemption sometime in the future, but when that's going to be, I don't know yet, so do keep in mind that I haven't played every game that's out there. I've only played certain ones, and so we'll just have to wait and see when I'll get to that point. But, and then, of course, there's the CU Podcast, and the CU Podcast, they try to stay within that retro game realm of sorts, and needless to say, some of the information that they give out is very interesting and very unique to listen to. I personally recommend any collector, if you're a big fan of retro games and stuff like that, CU Podcast is definitely one you should try watching, particularly their earlier videos, because you get a lot more information in regards to retro game shops because of how they've had to do things, how they've had to run stuff, and needless to say, they go through a lot more bullshit than most people like to think of. I mean, especially whenever you go into the bigger cities and stuff, they go through a lot more complexity than you think, and I know for some collectors it does get annoying, but if you're like me and you're patient, it's something that can be easily done, and it can easily be avoided, and you can easily get some friends coming from these retro game stores, because when they see what type of collection you're building, they'll recommend you what game you should get next, and sometimes they'll even tell you, hey, there's this one game that I recently got in, see if it's your particular interest that you're looking for. And sometimes they'll even help you out. Sometimes they'll even give you a discount or something. Not a major discount. Let that be the record. Sometimes they won't give you a major discount, but they will give you a discount of some form. Especially if you buy a bulk load of games. You know, sometimes me and Delmar, when we go to Game Exchange, we usually buy anywhere between 5 or 6 games. And sometimes if there's a particular special, which is buy 2, get 1 free, we usually go like, ooh, maybe this is a good time to stock up. So that's what we normally do. We usually... and we don't usually go based on like times of the year and stuff like that where we know they're going to do stuff like this. No, we never know. We don't get to a subscription service to where they give us updates to like, hey, here's our special deal that you can get and stuff like that. No, we just go whenever we have the money and whenever we feel like it. And when we do go down there, we usually rack up on games sometimes. Sometimes we have a slow day when it comes to collecting games, but sometimes we get a good day or two when it comes to collecting aspects of Source. So I imagine that the next time we do go back, it will probably be within that slow range, but then again, there could be a bunch of games that I've been looking for so long, and I'll be getting them as well. But the thing is that when it comes to retro games, I try to follow the rule of buying cheaper games and then looking for the more expensive ones. But sometimes the more expensive ones are the more interesting ones I wanted to get for so long, and it's like, there it is, hadn't seen it in months. Should I get it though? But I'm kind of getting off topic right now. But the biggest thing I want to go ahead and just kind of say is that the discussion videos, I want to bring them back. I want to bring back the discussion videos per se. The only issue about the discussion videos is that I want to make certain they're unique. You know, now record gaming news, you can't really do anything in terms of like, what different can you put out, you know? Because you don't want to be that one reviewer or that one newscaster that technically puts out a lie, you know? You know, there's all these different newscasters that say, oh, this is 100% legit news, when in reality they stretch the news out a little bit further than they should. And this has been a big debacle for quite some time of how it's fake news and stuff like that. And in all honesty, I don't even watch news. I just watch particularly gaming news that I'm particularly interested in, because some of these gaming news are more or less talking about, okay, this game or this particular thing just happened, let's go ahead and talk about it and give our insights as to like what we think about it, you know? That's what it is. It's insightful insight. It's not information you have to know. It's interesting facts or stuff like that that makes them think, okay, well, this is something that's going on or something that you're interested in, stuff like that, you know? And it's cool to get stuff like that. You don't get that all the time when it comes to newscaster. You get the full news. You don't get just a news and then what they think. You get the news and beyond that, you know. And to hear a little bit more insight and a little bit more information makes you a little bit more knowledgeable about the industry as it is, you know. I imagine for most moviegoers, getting that particular insight of a review on a movie and then to hear their opinions about what they thought about the movie in terms of like the acting and then the backgrounds and the digital effects and stuff, it's very interesting to hear their opinions and stuff. Same thing when it comes to video games. You know, they'll talk about the game, and then they'll talk about what they thought about it, what they liked about it, what they disliked about it, and it goes on through the list. And it's one of those things where it's like, I want to bring something different compared to every other gamer, or every other YouTube content reviewer and stuff like that. And if it ain't uniquely different, then I won't do it. You know, it's sort of like how the whole, like, Biomutant and Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, none of them talked about it. None of these different reviewers, none of these different people. The only other person that actually talks about this is Cynical, but that's only because of Spyro the Midnight Trilogy. Now, I'm interested in that game, but I wasn't going to pick it up as soon as it comes out. Particularly ever since they first announced that, hey, when you pick up the game, Spyro 1 is the only one that's going to be available on the disc. You have to download 2 and 3. I found that to be kind of a bit of a bullshit statement, because a lot of people thought maybe it's because of the fact the space was in the disc, but then people were like, that doesn't even make any sense since it's going to be on a Blu-ray disc, and Blu-ray disc can hold way more data, especially since Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy, had all 3 of them released on the disc alone. And you're telling me that you can't put Spyro 1, 2, and 3 in the disc as well? You're being a little bit bullshit. And the funny thing is that they even stated a reason. Well, it wasn't even a reason. It was just a standpoint. And when you hear that standpoint, you have to think to yourself, you're like, this makes no sense whatsoever. They said that technically everybody does it, so that's why we're doing it. And it's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. That's not how it works. First and foremost, that's not how it works. Second of all, that's not how it works. Thirdly, you know nothing about game development, so you're an idiot. Just, when they gave that standpoint, I was like, this has got to be the stupidest excuse I think I've ever heard in my entire life. I would understand that 1 was completed, but 2 and 3 are proven to be difficult to develop. I can understand that. in that case, push the game for a later date, and then have it be that case. But if it turns out because of a space issue, I call bullcrap on that one. There's no way Spiral 1 could be that big of a game for it to not be able to put 2 and 3 in that same disc. I'm just saying, it just doesn't add up. In the long run, it doesn't. But like I said, the majority of the news, I wanted to bring something new out. And if it ain't extremely new and obviously different compared to the next one, then I don't want to be that same guy that IGN almost got themselves in trouble of for copying literally the same review and the same freaking gameplay video as the previous one did. I know about that one too, and it's like, why did they do that? I mean, I get IGN isn't exactly a great video game news station and everything like that, but to do something as low as that, record they fixed it technically, but to know that technically there are people who do that, oh my gosh, that is so much BS. Oh my gosh. I mean, there's been a lot of news that came out, but a lot of people were talking about it, so it's like, what could I put out that might be unique and different? You get what I'm saying? These little news and tidbits, I can give out information and talk about my opinions on them, but are they going to be massively different compared to the next one? Probably not. You know, sometimes when it comes to me, I like to try to be like Bogey or Happy Console Gamer and give two sides of the story, but sometimes I'd be more like CU Podcast and Cynical, where I have my own opinion as well, and sometimes it's a little bit ranty at times, sometimes it's a little bit on the sour side, so it's one of those things where it's like, I want to bring something different. And then there's also the fact that there are other videos I want to try to put out as well, you know. There's also that series that I've been having known as Deep Dive into Gaming, where I talk about insightly about my experience with that game and how I've ended up enjoying it and stuff like that. Which, by the way, there will be a new one later on within the next month. I can't guarantee I'll be able to release it by the end of this month, but probably next month I will have a new video on Deep Dive into Gaming, which you can probably guess what it is, but I'll let you guess it for now. But in the meantime, though, I want to do more different videos. The only issue that I have a problem with, and thankfully I'm not the only one who's been having this problem so far. Delmar's been having this issue, my parents have had this issue, and I'm sure a couple of my friends have had this issue, and that's the fact that work has been exhausting. Now, I'm going to give you two different types of exhausting. There's the physical exhausting, and then there's the mental exhaustion. When it comes down to it, physical exhaustion can vary between person to person, and sometimes depending on the labor itself. Sometimes it's just minor wear and tear, sometimes it's aches and pain, sometimes it's to a point where you've almost injured yourself. And that can happen in most workplaces, you know, especially if you do construction or any type of heavy machinery and stuff like that. Any form of heavier appliances is going to be a major impact towards your body. Admittedly, what I do is mostly stock items and everything like that at a store, but considering the fact that I work at third shift, it puts a little bit more strain than you think. You know, there's a lot of people who tell you, hey, working nighttime isn't all what it cracks up to be. It may pay a little bit extra, but that little bit extra does not help. That is true. That is very much true. And I believe there is some factor that states that being outside, right in front of the sun and everything like that, gives you more energy. I believe that factor because technically working at the nighttime and stuff like that, I feel as if I don't have as much energy as I had a few years ago before I even started the night shift. But at the same time, I've done it for so long, it has not been a major negative impact. That being the case, however, I'm sure there's been smaller negative impact on my body and it's just now building up. That's a very possibility too, but in terms of like physical wear and tear, it's not been that bad. Mentally though, that's a different story. Mentally, it can be damaging. You know, it could be a point where you have all these people that talk about stuff, you have all these people who are being negative and everything like that, and the problem is, you can't do anything about it. You know, you can't do anything to fix their issues, you can't do anything to fix their problems. You just have to let them be, you have to let them figure out, okay, how can I improve? even though the company isn't going to do anything about it, how can I get through the day knowing that they're not going to fix anything? I just need to get through the day and survive. That's the impact that I've had to do. It's like, even though everybody's being negative about it, I'm trying to look at it as like, as best as I possibly humanely can, look at it as easy as possible. The only excuse that I have with my job is that it's not killing me in the physical realm. Like, I kid you not, I can tell you easily that I enjoyed my job way better than I did when I worked at the factory. When I worked at the factory, I was miserable. At Walmart, I am perfectly fine and I am able to work my job. I am happy with what I've got. In all honesty, it's actually getting a little bit better in terms of work condition. You know, you can kind of avoid certain things that happen, and from what we're going through right now is more or less of a staffing issue, but because of what they're going through right now, they're trying to work with less people, and they're trying to make people do more. Well, the problem is, we as third shift, we're the smallest group. We have like maybe 10 at the most. With our full amount of people that we have in staff, that's how many we technically have. We have no more than that. And that's bad when you consider first shift and second shift have easily 30 people each. 30 people. We only have 10. And we can barely do the job as is. When it's a one truck, we can do it just fine. If there's less than like, let's say there's less than 20,000. How about to say 20,000? No, I would be bitching about that. But let's just say we had a regular 2,000 piece truck. If you don't know the terminology, pieces means box freight. You know, these box freights will have a total case items of like 6 to up 20 items per box, depending on the size and quantity. So imagine 2,000 boxes in a single truck. For a lot of people, they'll think that's a lot, but when you think about it, for 10 people or so, that's not a lot of merchandise, so it's not going to be as bad. Now, when we get our 2 truck nights, that's when it gets rough, because we get anywhere between double, sometimes even triple that amount. Thank goodness we haven't gotten to that triple amount, but it will be by the time it gets closer to October or November, because that's whenever we get more items come in, and oh my gosh, does it get annoying. Oh, having that much merchandise is hard to handle, especially whenever you consider the fact that it adds up more and more. Especially when we go into mid-season, where it's like we're fixing to go from back to school to Halloween. Going into that mid-transition can be a little bit stressful at times, because you're having to take out some of the older merchandises that needs to be either in backstock or on regular shelving now, and you have to put out the new item that's going to be put out for the next month or two, depending on the season itself. For example, I imagine we'll be fixing to put out Halloween within the next week or two, you know. That's usually how it is. You know, you have September and then October comes out around the corner. And then as soon as November 1st comes up, we get ready to put up our Christmas stuff. It's sad to know that we're skipping Thanksgiving entirely over, but when you think about it, Thanksgiving is mostly celebrated based on food types, not so much decor and stuff like that. If you're looking for Thanksgiving decor, you might as well go to a hobby shop. As for like regular retail stores, they jump from October to December. That's all they do. It's just, so by November 1st, we're already getting, actually by October 20th, we get our Christmas stuff at times. So it's like, oh my gosh, you're getting them way ahead. Compared to most stores gets it by August, which is pretty crazy. Then again, it's sort of like that Lewis Black joke where it's like, you know, when we celebrate Christmas, July 7th. It's like, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. QVC celebrates their Christmas in July sales and stuff like that. So it's like, he's not wrong. But it just, everything builds up in terms of like mentally exhausted. And the bad thing is, I shouldn't be as exhausted as I should be. You know, I should be as happy as possible. I have a really good job, and I have something that keeps me going for the long run and everything like that. Admittedly, it doesn't pay a lot, but it pays enough to pay all of my bills and expenses, and have some left over for something else, you know, for my collecting and everything like that. So it's not like I'm bad on money. But on the mental side of things, it's not the best place to work. But I think everyone can agree that every job is like that to some degree. But that's why I've been trying to do this thing for the longest time. And I know people are going to be like, well, YouTube is getting worse and worse as well. That's if you count numbers. I think that's something that a lot of people have been doing. And this is kind of going to another subject at hand where YouTube burnout is a thing. It is a actual thing now. And I think a lot of people have been seeing that more and more as people are being subscribed to more and more different YouTubers. And Bogey's actually talked about this on his channel as well. And I felt like I wanted to talk about it, but it was something that's like, it's just common knowledge that I do Let's Plays. So it's not like it's a burnout thing. It's just, I have small little times where I don't want to make extra videos. I just want to stick to my normal games that I've been playing and stuff like that. And every once in a while, my mind will try to tick back up. You know, sometimes it'll have those slow moments of where it's like tick tock, tick tock, and then all of a sudden I'll have that rare moment. It's like tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. And that's whenever my mind thinks about some of the random stuff. For example, lately I've been thinking, should I change the formula on my channel? And I've often thought about it, and I was like, if I did that, that would only hurt the channel more, technically, when you look at it, you know? And here's the thing, because I don't have a large subscriber rate, and I don't have a large view count, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm just right now building my channel. I'm building a community, you know, as a technical term should be told. So it's like, why should I look at the numbers? The numbers shouldn't be my main concern. My main concern should be trying to get more people to see my channel as is. You know, right now the channel is at like 83, 84. And it's been like that for like the past couple of months. So it's not like my channel is getting better or worse. It stays the same to some degree. And so I've had to think to myself, it's like, how can I improve things? How can I improve that my channel is what it is, and how can I get it out there more and more? Even though I mostly do Let's Plays. So it's one of those things where it's like, I don't see an improvement being implemented. Now, record, on the Twitch side of things have gotten better. I have gotten a lot more followers lately in terms of Twitch side of things. I've got like up to 20 now, which is actually incredibly insane to believe that, hey, people are following me on Twitch, and it's actually really cool. It's one of those things where it's like, even though it's not as active for like as some live streamers, I'm at least getting some followers out of this and stuff. And it's like, you know, maybe Twitch is a thing that I should stick with. But at the same time, I want to do other videos in the process of it all. And you can't just put out game reviews and stuff like that on Twitch, because it's not going to stay there for very long. It's going to stay there at most like a week or two at best. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing on Twitch's end. I mean, hell, they get videos built up all the time. They get like 5, 10, 20, 30 of 8-hour streams all the time, I say. And it's one of those things where it's like, you know, there's nothing different you can do on Twitch because it's all live stream. But on YouTube, you can do different things every once in a while, you know. And I get that. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I've been trying to figure out, what do you guys want more, you know? Other than Let's Plays and stuff like that, what more do you want to see? I've been having this topic pop into my head over and over and over again. And I never seem to get an answer. It's like, what more can I do? And it's not what more can I do. What more do you want to see? That's the issue that I want to hear, is that I'm doing a lot of what I want to do. But what do you want to do? You get the picture? I'm not having as many requests as people have been asking. I've been getting a lot of comments now, which is a good thing. I like to hear people talk and stuff like that. I like to hear different information and different insightful opinions. Playing these different games, I get different insights from everybody, and it's interesting to hear these different insights. But to know what you want more, that's what I'm trying to figure out. And I've often thought about it, it's like, should I do a poll? But every single time I do a poll, there's not a lot of people voting on it. I get like maybe 2 or 3 at a time. And that's not a lot when you think about it. It isn't, compared to like 80 people that are subscribed to this channel. And I get that not 80 people are watching my channel, maybe like 5 or 10 at best. But I want people to be more involved when it comes to watching my videos and stuff like that. I want them to be free to talk about stuff that they want to talk about and everything like that. Whether it be a positive comment or a negative comment. Because I can handle negativity a lot easier than you think, you know. Some of these negativities that I've been getting is more or less of like, you missed a potential secret boss. What? That's all it is, you know. It's like, hey, there's a particular item that you might want to be interested in. Or hell, there's a secret cutscene that you missed. And it's like, alternate storyline? Is that what I'm getting at? The biggest one that I've had was that of Nier Automata. I've stated in the past that Nier Automata isn't nearly as good as Nier is, you know. Nier Automata does a lot of interesting stuff, but in the long run, I feel like it runs short when it comes to a better gaming experience. A lot of people seem to be on the opposite end of things, and from what it sounds like because I don't know anything about the Nier franchise, I might as well say that because apparently they have a manga series that gets released and stuff. And it's like, had I known this, I probably would have had a little bit more respect for Nier Automata. But because of how Nier Automata explains itself to me, I look at it at a different direction, and I didn't enjoy it as much as like the next person. And I can respect the next person enjoying it because they have a better experience than what I did. They knew more than what I did. And that's the thing about it when it comes overall. It's the same reason why I love Kingdom Hearts, because I played everything. I know everything that's been going on so far, and that's why I enjoy it so much. Same thing for why people enjoy Nier Automata. They know more about what's going on behind the scenes. I only know in terms of the gameplay aspects of things, you know? And that's something that I look into a lot, is that everyone is different. Everyone has their different opinions. Everyone has different ideals and stuff. And it's like, I respect those different ideals. Do my ideals differ from them? Of course they do. All the time. Do I tend to speak out more than most? Probably, yeah. I want to think to myself and say that I try to let other people speak before I speak, because sometimes they have different ideals than what I would do. And then sometimes those ideals would be better than what I would think, and then sometimes their ideals are some insights that I'm like, I'll just keep that as a note thing. But it's one of those things where it's like, I want to respect you guys, you know, and that's what this channel should be. This channel should be respecting other people and their different opinions, you know. The gaming community is so vastly large that it shouldn't be restricted to certain people. It really shouldn't. You know, you have the retro community, you have the gamers who are in for the newer games that's out there, you have competitive gamers, you have the casuals, you have hardcore, you have people who do different challenges and stuff like that. It's the fact that the gaming community is so largely different is that it makes it unique, and it makes it interesting to get all these different peoples. And to know that there are more people out there who have an interesting franchise that you yourself are interested in, it makes it all the more worthwhile. Like, I can tell you right now, anytime I find another Kingdom Hearts fan, it's like discovering another universe. It's almost the exact same person that you are. So it's like, oh my gosh, I can actually talk about my favorite franchise and stuff, you know? It's the same reason why some people who fell in love for like Dark Souls and stuff like that, it's that rarity. It's like finding somebody who loved Call of Duty. It's that rarity. The fact that you find somebody else who loved the Need for Speed franchise or anything like that, that is a rarity, but it is a beautiful moment in gaming where you realize, hey, the audience is actually bigger than we thought. And that's why I want to try to put out more different videos, different discussions and stuff like that, but it's kind of hard to, because the fact that my particular ideal of thinking is very limited compared to everybody else's. But I do want to hear your opinions. Do you feel like I need to do more discussion videos? And if so, how should I go about these different discussion videos? Do you care if these videos are any longer than 20 minutes? Or do you care if they are like 5 minutes or so? Do you just want to know different opinions and stuff like that? I like to hear your opinions overall, so thank you so much for listening to me rambling. This may end up turning into a vlog video rather than a discussion video, but we'll see. I felt like I need to kind of explain myself as to why I haven't done a number of these discussion videos, because of the fact that, well, I hadn't had anything interesting to talk about for quite some time, but I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments below. So thank you so much for your time and attention, and I'll catch you in the next video. This is BlackCross signing off. Catch you later, guys.